Hey guys, welcome back to How to Roll Dice. I'm Josh. That was a silly intro, I apologize. Today I wanted to talk quickly about board game Burnout and how it happened to me with this spectacular game right here, to the point where I don't think I've played this game a single time since it occurred almost 10 years ago. So board game Burnout is when you or somebody in your friend group, or maybe your friend group as a whole, just gets sick of a game because you've been playing it too much and frankly nobody is speaking up. Those are usually the two things that sort of lead to this situation occurring, right? You're over-focused or you're hyper-focused on a specific game, and somebody, or possibly even multiple people, just are no longer having fun with it, but for some reason they don't feel comfortable speaking up and saying so. And for those people, it's going to ruin what could otherwise be a very, very wonderful game to have in their collection or to have in their player group. So this game here is Terra Mystica. It came out 2002, 2013. It is the 2013 board game of the year, according to BoardGameGeek.com. It is the 21st overall rated game of all time, so it's basically right on the edge of a top 20 game, and it is the 5th most complex and challenging game that I own from a rules weight perspective. On Board Game Geek, this is rated around a 3.95, so right about a 4. I want to say the highest game that I own is actually Vinos, which I haven't played yet, and that's a 4.25 on a scale that maxes out at 5. In fact, I think the overall hardest game listed on Board Game Geek right now is like a 4.6, so nothing has gone up to a 5, nor should anything ever go that complicated. These aren't fighter jets, they're board games. So I bought this game in 2013, 2014. It was the most sort of intricate, complex board game I had ever purchased. I want to say prior to this, I had probably a few non-mainstream board games. I was playing Magic the Gathering, I was playing War Machine and Hordes. I had dabbled in various tabletop miniatures games, but as far as board games go, I had not really gone much beyond the sort of boutique versions of mainstream board games. Like I owned a copy of Lord of the Rings Risk. That's the type of game that I was at as far as board games go, but I had begun to dabble, and I came across this and I wanted to pick it up. It was just sitting on the shelf at my local game store. Brought it home, opened it up, read the rulebook multiple times, was enamored with what this game sort of had to offer. Got my friends together and we started playing the game. And they loved it as much as I did and as much as I hoped they would. And we ended up playing nothing but this game, or I should say I ended up playing nothing but this game for months. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 months. Every single time we hung out, maybe once or twice a week, all we would do was fit in as many rounds or as many matches of this game as possible. Now, I want to reiterate, this is a very, very, very good game. I would immediately recommend, if you don't own a copy of this, you go out and find a copy of this, or if you're looking for a sci-fi take on this sort of fantasy setting, but an extremely similar game by the same designers and actually sort of meant to be a follow-up to this game, look up the Gaia Project. That is basically this game edition 2, and it's in space instead of a fantasy setting, but it's very much the same game. So I would definitely recommend you pick it up. I, however, have not played this game since I got burned out on it mid-2013, 2014. And that's because it got played so much over and over and over and over, and it's all I played, and I was okay at it. I really like the game, but at the time, at that age, I was still very sort of competitive in my board game play style. I wanted to win. If I didn't win, it probably sort of like put a bit of a dark mark on the day. But now I've obviously moved past that mindset. I would be happy playing any game and, succeeding or failing. I'm just there to have a good time, and I guarantee you for the most part I will. But this game at the time made me feel like I was just like constantly failing. And I didn't want to speak up because all of my friends loved it so much and I was the one that had introduced it, so for me to then pull away from it seemed like it would be odd. I know now that's not odd at all, and you should absolutely speak up in your friend group if you're playing a game and you've been playing a game and you're getting tired of it or you're just not enjoying it, because chances are they want you to have as much fun as they want to have themselves. Like they care about you enjoying the game night, right? And in my case, this was me setting up days to hang out at my house where I would set up the game and teach the game and kind of host everything. So I entirely should have had the level of comfort with my friend group to say, hey, I'm kind of done with this. Can we take a break and come back to it? That kind of thing. Now, here's why my friends didn't exactly catch on to why I was feeling that way, other than the fact that I just wasn't speaking my mind, which I definitely should have, but a lot of people when they're younger don't. This was when I was in my late teens, early 20s. The issue was they were having separate game days at other friends' houses other days of the week. I was a little bit older than them at the time, and so I was a little more like I had a job going and I had stuff that I was working on, and they were still, at the point in their life where they could kind of just fill every night of the week with whatever they wanted. And of course they were, why wouldn't you? So they were having 2 or 3 game nights a week with separate groups of friends, and to them, there was only, 1 out of every 3 nights was the night where they would play Terra Mystica. But from my perspective, because I only saw them once a week and that was my one game day, every single game day for like 2 or 3 months was just Terra Mystica. So to them, it seemed like a game that was getting peppered in here and there that they really loved, and so they got to experience it amongst other things. And with me, it was like a game that I had somehow become shackled to and could not play anything else. It got to the point where they actually purchased expansions for the game, I believe without even owning a copy of the game. I'm pretty sure one of my friends actually picked up one of the expansions to the game because he enjoyed it so much and because he wanted to expand upon this game that to him we all loved and played every now and then. And to me, I was like completely sick of and just feeling miserable playing nothing but this game and wanted desperately to move on to other things. Again, entirely not my friend's fault. I should have spoken up and just said something, but I didn't. So this can happen to you, right? This can drive you to never want to play a game again because you get sick of it. It's like, you know, people in college who drink too much tequila, and then by the time they get out of college, that's the one liquor they can just not even stand the smell of, right? You just get completely burned out and turned off of that thing, even if there's nothing wrong with it. Again, spectacular game. I absolutely recommend you own a copy. I will reread the rulebook and play this again soon, but it's been almost a decade, and I haven't once thought about pulling it off the shelf and playing it because I just immediately kind of go, oh, Terra Mystica, that's a really good game. I have other stuff I'd rather play. I just, like, not even rather play, just I go to other stuff. I don't want to come back to this game. It just left a bad taste in my mouth that's taken almost a decade to fade away. So don't let that happen to you. Speak up if there's a game you don't like. Speak up if there's a game you're getting tired of. Even if it's something more sort of intricately planned, like an RPG. If something is annoying you or things aren't going your way, whether you're hosting or playing, if you're playing a tabletop RPG and you're just not having fun with it, or you want to try a different format, or you want to step back from it and maybe ask your friends if you can do something different, something simpler, a board game, a card game, whatever, speak up. Don't just let yourself fall into this pit where you become hateful of the thing that you're doing. This is a hobby we're all supposed to love. You should be enjoying almost every minute of it. Of course, there are some games where you're going to fall into sort of that competitive mindset, and then you will get frustrated when you lose. But if we're talking about just like across the spectrum, you should be having a good time and enjoying it. You're putting in a lot of effort, you're probably putting in a lot of money. Speak up. Don't get burned out on board games. Let your friends know whether or not you like something and switch to something that you all enjoy. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hope you're doing a good job of maintaining your open lines of communication with your friends so as to avoid this pitfall. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a good one.